Okay, so if you're someone that understands the basics of video editing, maybe you can cut and trim your clips together on the timeline, add some music, maybe even drag a pre-made transition between clips, but you want to take your edits to the next level. How do you do it? Well, in this video, I'm going to be sharing some professional video editing tips that if you aren't using already, will completely transform how you edit your videos from this point onwards. All of these tips are designed to save you time as well as increase the production value of your edits. So let's jump straight in with the first tip, which is using overlays. Okay, well, first of all, what is an overlay? An overlay is a video layer that you lay on top of your video clips. There are a number of different creative ways that you can use overlays. So let me show you 3 completely different ways that you can use overlays in your videos. The first is to use film burn overlays or textures. Take this film burn overlay here, for example. I'm going to place this between these 2 clips so that we now have a much more stylized transition. This is how the original clips looked edited together. It's not bad. And this is what they look like with a film burn overlay. It's just a little slicker, a little more stylized, but you can tailor these overlays to the look and feel that you're going for. They don't need to be film burns. You could, for example, go a bit more grungy and urban with overlays like this. Or make them a bit more subtle and elegant like this. Also, you don't just need to use overlays as transitions between clips. There are many creative ways that you can use them. For example, let's say you're working on a project where you have someone stood in the rain, but you just need a little bit more rain. Well, you could grab a rain overlay, just place this on the clip like this, and we now have another layer of interest. We could also take this one step further by adding the sound effect of some rain with a soft layer of music. Or let's say you've got a shot of someone standing on the road and you want it to look like the ground is collapsing. Well, you could just use one of these ground collapse overlays and you've just saved yourself having to pay a visual effects artist to do it for you. Or how's this for a more subtle use of an overlay? Beside me here, I have a steaming cup of coffee. Now, although the coffee is real, the steam is not. I simply used a steam overlay and just dragged it on top of my clip like this. So as you can see, there are many creative ways that you can use overlays in your video. If you haven't experimented with them yet, be sure to try. I will put a link to where you can find some of the best overlays in the description below. Okay, now my next tip will save you an insane amount of time and effort, and that is using stock footage. But hear me out here, okay? Because you might have the same mindset as I once did, which is,
no way, I'm not using stock footage. Unless I've shot it myself, I'm not using it.
But as soon as I started doing client work, running a video business, I quickly realized that it just wasn't possible or too expensive and time-consuming to shoot everything myself. Let me give you a really good example. So last month I did a trip to Rome where I shot 3 YouTube videos, and one of those videos was shot at the Colosseum, and I really wanted a drone shot for the opening of that video to give it a bit more production value, but I didn't want to take my drone with me. I've traveled with drones in the past, and to be honest, it can end up being an awful lot of hassle. I only ever really need the odd aerial shot or 2 when I'm on these trips, but in order to do that, I've got to take my drone through customs. I've had drones confiscated before. That gets expensive, and even if I do get it through customs, it's a lot of additional weight and eats up half the space in my camera bag. I need to get permission to fly once I'm there, which can be really difficult or sometimes impossible. Then I've got to launch the drone in a busy built-up area which attracts a lot of unwanted attention. I've then got to get the shots and make sure that I don't crash the drone into any unsuspecting tourists, and all of this can get a little bit stressful and unnecessary because instead of doing all of that, I can just grab a stock clip of the Colosseum and drag it into the opening sequence of my video like this, which takes just a couple of seconds and gives me the exact result that I was looking for. Now, obviously this won't work for everything. Sometimes you'll be at a location where there's no stock footage for it, but a lot of the time there will be. I was at the Colosseum on a sunny day, and there is an abundance of aerial shots of the Colosseum on a sunny day. So this tied in seamlessly with my edit and saved me a lot of time and stress whilst traveling. So as a video editor or content creator, make sure you take advantage of what's already out there by using stock footage. Sure, make your edits unique, put your own spin on things, shoot it yourself if you can, but if not, there's plenty of footage out there to help save you time and money. If you're looking for some of the best stock footage, overlays, or any of the assets that I've been using so far, then be sure to check out the sponsor of today's video, Motion Array. Motion Array is the ultimate pick and mix toolbox for content creators. They literally have everything that you need to take your videos from looking amateur to professional. There is an insane amount of digital assets on Motion Array: overlays, stock footage, title templates, sound effects, but it's all really easy to find because you can search by category or type in exactly what you're looking for into the search bar. So let's say, for example, you want to show a montage of images for a client video. Well, rather than just cross-fading between images like this, which looks cheap and amateur, use a pre-built template from Motion Array which will showcase these images in a much more creative and stylized way. This not only looks better, but it's quicker to create. So having access to a wide range of video assets like this can save you a ton of time and make your edits look much more professional. So if you'd like to give Motion Array a try, I will leave a link below where you can sign up for free with limited access, or sign up for a subscription with unlimited access and downloads, which, if you're someone that's making videos on a regular basis, is an absolute no-brainer. That link in the description will also save you $50 off an annual subscription for a very limited time only, so be sure to check it out. Okay, now my next editing trick here is a really simple but great one, especially if you're someone that edits a lot of B-roll sequences. It can be really time-consuming to go through a bunch of raw clips picking out only the best bits. That's not the fun bit. We want to get stuck into the edit where we can get creative. So the quicker we can do this, the better. So I'm going to do this by using keyboard shortcuts. I promise this is going to save you a huge amount of time. If you only ever do one keyboard shortcut, make sure it's this one. So let's say you've got 10 clips on your timeline and you just want to pick out the best bits from each clip. This is me editing those clips without keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to move my playhead over to where I want my clip to start, about here, and I'm going to come over here to select the blade tool, and I'm going to come back down here to select the part of the clip I want to delete, and then press delete. I would then need to repeat this process to cut off the end of the clip so that I'm just left with this middle bit, the good bit. Now, there was a lot of hand movement going on there to make this edit, and it just wasn't very efficient. So I've set two custom keyboard shortcuts. Q is now trim start, and W is now trim end. And what this does is allow you to move your playhead to where you want your clip to start. So let's say here. And now when I hit Q, it not only makes a cut, but it also deletes everything before the playhead in that selected clip. And if I want to trim the end off, I just move my playhead to where I want my clip to end and press W, and the end is removed. I cannot tell you how much time this will save you. Compound interest. In the long run, this shortcut alone will save you days, weeks, if not months of unnecessary editing. I'm using Final Cut Pro, by the way, but this can be done in just about any editing software. Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, all have the ability to do this. So finish this video, then go and watch a tutorial on how to create shortcuts for your specific software. Okay, now this next one is by far one of my favorite editing tricks, and there's a number of different ways that you can do this. I don't even know what to call this technique, so I'm going to let you decide. But let's imagine for a second that you wanted to capture an impossible shot, a shot where the camera goes inside someone's brain. Pretty hard to pull off, of course, unless you use editing magic like this. And just like that, we now have a shot that does exactly that. And all I did for this was simply download some motion graphics of some neurons and spliced it into this clip. This technique is very much a case of making the impossible possible. I mean, sure, you could put a camera inside someone's brain, but I wouldn't recommend it. Just use motion graphics instead. Now, let me show you another example of this technique being used. Let's say we've got two shots that you've edited together to create this through the floor effect. Well, this looks okay, but now let's add some motion graphics of this shot actually going through the floor. Add a few sound effects, and we now have this. Basically taking motion graphics or animations and integrating them into real-world footage, and this really helps give your videos more production value. As you can imagine, there are a ton of possibilities with this technique. Look to see what's out there. I find it's easier to reverse engineer these shots, so start with an interesting animation, and then think about how you can integrate that into a future video project or sequence. Okay, moving on, let's talk about animating text on screen, because this is easy to get wrong and can really ruin your edits. Now, chances are at some point in your video editing journey, you're going to need to bring up some text on screen. And unless you have a really good understanding of graphics design, animation, what fonts work well with each other, then this text can end up looking out of place, distracting, and actually cheapen the look of your edits. I'm terrible with graphics and animation, by the way. I've tried building things from scratch in the past and they just look awful and I don't even end up using them. I just waste my time. By far, the best and quickest way, unless you're some kind of animation wizard, is to simply use pre-built templates. So let's say you need a professional lower third for a video interview, maybe some cinematic opening titles for a short film, or maybe you just need a subscribe button for your latest YouTube video. Do not waste time attempting to create these yourself. Unless you're into that kind of thing, of course, you do you, but for me, I want that professional look, but I just don't have the time to build things from scratch. But do not worry, because there are plenty of pre-built templates out there designed specifically to help save you time and give you that professional look. Also, a lot of these templates are customizable, so let's say you need a specific brand, color, or style, you can. The text is already in there, so you don't need to worry about what fonts work well with each other, but you can change them if needed. It just saves you a huge amount of time. Just make sure that you're searching for these templates that are compatible with your editing software. On Motion Array, simply go over to Video Templates, then select your video editing software. This will then filter out the templates to show you only those compatible with your chosen software. I will leave a link to Motion Array below. Be sure to check out their huge archive of assets. And if you'd like to learn more about video production and editing and how you can improve the look of your edits, then be sure to check out this video here, 10 video editing tips that every editor should know. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.